evening, and welcome to Emma Gray's channel here on YouTube. Today is July the 31st, 2013. How is everyone doing out there today? It is continuing to be hot all over the country, as you know. And in Central Texas, here where I live, it is over 100 degrees in temperature, with the heat index being 98 and or over 100 degrees. I pray that you are keeping cool and be cautious of the sun out there. Be sure to put your sunblock on. Drink plenty of water. And I'm talking to myself as well because I'm notorious for not drinking enough water, especially if I'm in a air conditioned building. I seem to not to remember to drink my water, but do better than I do. And from time to time, come on board here and leave a comment for me telling me, Coach Gray, remember to drink your water. I would certainly appreciate that. Okay. All right. So I thought that I would start out some life lesson series, and from time to time it will be entitled Life Lessons. And the title tonight is going to be Life Lessons on Doing Your Best. Okay. And this is actually a direct answer to the question that I posed on my YouTube channel about several weeks ago. And I threw it out there for my audience, my subscribers, to answer that question, but no one bit the bait. So since I asked the question, I guess I'm going to have to answer it. And but I do want to hear from you after I give my answers and my spin on it, and also lending my coaches from my coach's perspective after I give my answers. Then I would like to hear from any of you out there to do your input as well. Okay. Viewers and subscribers, anyone that want to chime in and put a different spin on it, because lots of times these questions are actually relative to the person's life. And so what I try to do is just give a general answer. Okay. So the question that I posed was, how do you know when or how you let me backstep a minute because I'm not reading it correctly. How do you know that you have done your best or are doing your best in any given situation? And some of the examples that I gave is in life situations such as choosing a mate or your marriage, your career, your job, any project you have to do, or raising your children. And you can just fill in the gap with any other life perspective as well. Okay. So how do you know that you have done or that you are doing your very best? Okay. All right. So here are the three answers that I came up with. And these are not etched in stone. They are not conclusive because, like I said, you may have a different perspective on the answers for this question because it's relative to what's going on in your life or the experiences that you have had. But here's my attempt in trying to answer it maybe in a general way. Okay. So the first thing I came up with is that you'll know that you have done your best or are doing your best when the desired goal or outcome has been achieved. Okay, so I'm assuming that you have set some kind of goal and you know what you're looking for at the end of the project or the situation or at different phases of it, that you are moving along in the direction in which you want it to go. So that's one way I say how you know you have done or are doing your best. Another way is, of course, the feedback that you get, the positive feedback that you receive, either externally from within, from yourself, that you feel good. You know how we feel when we feel that we have done our very best or we have achieved or accomplished something. You really feel good about yourself, that you have done your best, and you can really say that your efforts paid off. So internally, you can feel the feedback internally, but also important as well is the feedback you get from the outside people looking in, people who appreciate and your work and saw the results, and they are able to benefit from it. And so when people are able to benefit from something that you do, they will give you positive feedback. They will give you the kudos if you have satisfied something for them. So, and especially from peers, uh, they will give you that positive feedback. And that's also a good feeling to know. They let you know that you have done your very best. And lastly, but not least, because like I said, there are many more rather, when um, what project or whatever it is that you have endeavored to do, you'll know that you have done your best or are doing your best when it is duplicatable. When someone or persons can look at this and duplicate it or build up on it or can be passed on, or whatever you've done is held up perhaps as a model for other people to follow and build upon, okay? And that is one of the highest ways to know that you have done your best when what you have done can be duplicated. And we can think of many situations where individuals have made certain achievements that they have done their very best, and it has become a standard or a role model or a model for others to live up to and to pass on, such as like Martin Luther King and many others who have done their very best in whatever they endeavored to do, and we were able to be recipients of it and were able to build up on it and look up on it as something that we can do as well. So those are my three answers that I came up with. Again, just to recap, when you know that you have done your very best is when your desired goal is met, when you receive positive feedback, and when it is duplicatable. Okay. Now, as a life coach, though, I want to go a little further to help us move forward because lots of things in life, as you know, we have to fly by the seat of our pants. That we don't have an opportunity to even do a measurement and see if we have done our very best. It's just happens, and we will find out as we receive the feedback once it's over, or whatever, or as we're going through that situation. Because some situations are on a continuum basis. And okay, so like take for instance raising your children. You know, we have to fly by the seat of your pants. The only thing I can say that you come to the table with in any kind of preconceived notion about raising your children is basically your memories of how you were raised, you know, and we all have done that. When I had my boys, my husband and I, we both had two different styles of rearing kids because we come from two different backgrounds. So, you know, there becomes a challenge there. So things had to be readjusted. Also, you have to look at if you have more than one child, or even if you just have one child, you have to consider their personality. And of course, your own mother with or father with has to kick in. And so, in this particular case, something may not be able to structure it. You just have to go along as life unfolds in that particular situation. However, I want us to start thinking about the opportunity. There are some things in life we do have an opportunity to approach in a somewhat of a systematic way, of looking at it. Especially, when we're talking about marriage or choosing a mate or choosing school or projects that we have to do as much as in our control as possible, projects that we have to do on the job. And we know that can be a little difficult because, you are not the boss, but you are to do, the project that the boss, have the end results in which the boss, is want you to come up with. But there are some things, in your control. And so wherever you can fit this model that I'm telling you, or a checklist, or some strategies that I'm going to give you, then wherever you can fit it in different life perspectives or different situations where you can assure that you will do your very best and that you have done your very best. Whenever you can structure um, it, then let's try to do so. And so here's some components that I'm going to give you to look at when trying to structure some things in life that can be structured. And you'll know, your wisdom will kick in, and you'll know the difference as to what can be structured versus what cannot, to ensure that the success, or that you have done your very best. And first off, I want to let you know that you want to put yourself in the best position in any endeavor that you try, as not to sabotage yourself. So I'm going to say first off, if you can, do not put yourself in a situation to sabotage yourself by biting off more than you can chew, or something that's beyond what you can do. Okay, that's one of the first things that you should put on the checklist. And so, going along with that, check your personality or your temperament when endeavoring in any kind of situation, so that you won't sabotage yourself. Because some situations, some things, you don't need to put yourself in, because you may not have the temperament, you may not have the ability, the capability, the skills, or the talents, or the gifting to do that. So take that in consideration, if at all possible. Like I said, it's not going to fly in every situation in your life, but consider which ones that can take on this particular component, so you can put yourself in position to do the best that you can. Also, look at your strengths and your weaknesses. Okay, look at your strengths and your weaknesses as you are endeavoring or embarking on a situation, and buy into whatever it is that you're going to the situation. Buy into it and see the value in it, and also see the value that you bring to it. See the value that you have, because what you bring to the table is very important, and it also will give you confidence, and to know that you're going to do your very, very best. Another thing I want you to take a look at is your resources. Look at any resources that you may have or that you may not have, and don't be afraid to say no, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Okay. And last but not least, and none of these things are, should be taken in the order in which I give them. Utilize them in the way that they need to be used for every situation that you're in. Make sure that you have the time to invest. That you have the time to invest, because that's very important when you're endeavoring or taking on a situation, especially when it comes to projects and comes to different things. Make sure that you have the time to invest, and that so that you can meet any deadlines. All right, and so again, be sure to have the ability to, or when to say no, and when to ask for help. Okay, so that's my spin on it. Now, if any of you out there have some more that you can add to this, certainly it would enhance it, and it can help many people. It helps me as I was, preparing my answers. It kind of helped me, and helped me to look back at some things that I certainly could have utilized. Some of these this checklist. So there are some things, of course, I had to fly by the seat of my pants, but there are some that I could have set back and gave an approach in how I was going to approach it, and see was I capable or able, and bought into it, and all those kinds of things before endeavoring, to do it. And some things, though, you may not, like I said, get a chance to do this. It's not to say that you're not going to be successful in it, because there are some things that God, God is always able, and He can do more above anything that we can ask if we just ask Him. If you find yourself in a situation where you don't have an opportunity to do some kind of checklist, and many things happen that way, Jesus, we just have to say, Jesus, help us, Jesus. And that is the ultimate answer. That is the ultimate problem solver, the ultimate one that we call on. Okay? So again, I hope this was quite helpful to you. Now I'm going to go back to my drawing table and try to answer the other component to this that I threw out and nobody answered it. And that is, what do you tell yourself when you feel that you have done your best, but from someone else's perspective, you did not do your best? Okay. So what do you tell yourself when your best was not good enough from someone else's perspective? All right. And so I'll come back to you after I develop my spin and take on it. In the meantime, let me hear from you, your take on what I said, and trying to add to the conversation. Okay. In the meantime, Be careful out there in the hot sun and love yourself and love someone else. Emma Gray, your life coach. Bye bye.